Helping in the fight against terrorism has been Jim Haig's desire. The software and internet entrepreneur created Spirit of America 8 years ago to help the U.S. military in Afghanistan by providing supplies for the Afghan people.
So soldiers and Marines tell us what they need to help the local people. They tell us about sewing machines that are needed for Afghan women, school supplies for local children, tools for men.
The Los Angeles-based organization receives private donations through the internet. All of the money is used to buy supplies, mostly in Afghanistan, to help the local economy. Haig says the goal is to help U.S. troops build strong relationships with Afghanistan's people. Andrew Wilder of the U.S. Institute of Peace has been studying the effects of aid in Afghanistan.
These aid projects many of them are very well intended, but unfortunately many of them also had unintended consequences.
A recent report by the Senate Foreign Relations Committee agrees, saying that stabilization projects may have good short-term results, such as developing relationships and providing intelligence, but that too much aid can destabilize the local economy, even creating a recession as the U.S. and NATO decrease their presence over the next few years.
We've created this big sort of war and aid bubble economy, and now as we're transitioning out, there's a real risk that that's going to pop.
The World Bank estimates 97% of Afghanistan's gross domestic product comes from spending related to international troops and aid organizations. The money from most international donors, including the U.S., does not go through the Afghan government. The report warns this arrangement weakens the government's ability to control resources and can fuel corruption. And it says many individual projects in Afghanistan have no plans for sustainability. But Spirit of America's Jim Haig says some projects do not need to be long-term and can still help stabilize local communities. As for corruption, he says his organization works on smaller-scale projects, so he knows exactly where the money goes.
So we don't have layers of subcontractors. When we source goods in Afghanistan, we're doing it directly from our personnel to the source of those goods.
But challenges remain for the foreign aid currently flowing into Afghanistan. As the U.S. draws down its forces, Andrew Wilder advocates a slow decrease of aid over time. He also wants the money to go through the Afghan government to give it more control over its resources.
It's important for donors to support these national programs and, again, still have checks and mechanisms to ensure accountability in those programs. But they have much greater likelihood of surviving longer term and being sustained than programs that were conceived and implemented outside of the government's budget.
The Senate committee report says it is important to have continued oversight of aid to Afghanistan and provide funding only if the government makes progress in fighting corruption and stabilizing its financial